beginning of the year is traditionally a slow period for PCs, with very few new products coming out, even if the announcements make it not seem so. This is a time when the industry is mostly focused on selling the current stock left over from the holidays, so it's usually not before the second quarter of the year that the things start happening and we get to actually try some new devices. Due to everything that's been going on last year, a surge in demand and some other factors, 2021 is going to be a very atypical year, one in which many rules won't apply and availability of new stuff may be very limited. If you already have a good gaming PC or are lucky, or should I say very lucky, to get a good graphics card in all this madness that is the current GPU market, you're going to need a good gaming monitor, whose selection is thankfully much better. This time we got to test something new from Acer, a model named XB253Q GX, which brings a 240Hz refresh rate, 0.5 millisecond response time, and G-Sync compatible and HDR certificates. A feature set that is rich enough to make this model interesting for those looking for a modern gaming monitor and have around $500 to spend. So let's see how it actually performs. The design of this model is typical for Acer's new stuff, modern looking but not over the top. It belongs to Acer's Predator line of gaming devices, which is clear by the logo on the bottom of the panel, as well as the symbols on the bottom and the top of the stand. These three details, along with the stand itself, are the only things that indicate its gaming purpose, since the rest of the monitor is fairly neutral looking. We think this is a good thing, since there's no reason for extra flashiness that can be distracting during gaming. The stand consists of three metal legs which take a moderate amount of space on your desk and offer very good stability, plus the hind leg is short enough so that you can get the monitor fairly close to the back edge of the desk if you need to. You can adjust the height by 11.5 centimeters, rotate the panel left and right by 20 degrees, tilt it by 5 degrees down and 25 degrees up, or pivot by 90 degrees in either direction, which might come useful if you, like me, like to play a game of pinball from time to time. Except for the vent holes on the back and the brushed metal surface above them, the rest of the back is fairly plain looking, and the same goes for the front with very thin side and top screen bezels, so the only visible element is practically the bottom bezel, which is dark grey with a texture made of horizontal lines. On the bottom of the back of the monitor there's a connection section in which, beside the power connection, you'll find two HDMI 2.0, one DisplayPort 1.4 and 3.5mm headphone jack. Speaking of sound, the monitor also has an integrated 2x2 watt speakers, which are usable if you have no better option at hand. Rest of the connectors are USBs, with one USB 3.0 port for connecting to PC, and two ports for connecting devices and peripherals, plus another two USB ports on the left side of the monitor for convenient access when you need to plug in some USB drive, for instance. There's also a convenient hole on the bottom of the stand for cable management. For controlling the menu, Acer opted for a hybrid system that consists of mini joystick and 4 additional keys, including the power one, which are placed behind the bottom left edge of the monitor. In most cases, you'll be able to get things done by using only the mini joystick thanks to the nice and simple menu, while the 3 keys are mostly used as shortcuts and to access some additional stuff like, for instance, information menu, which is also used for resetting the monitor, an option that is a bit hard to find at first. Beside the usual options and settings, as well as very detailed color adjustment settings, the menu also offers some specific gaming functions which are important given the primary purpose of this monitor. Among those, there's Black Boost for raising the black level, if you even need that one on IPS panel, as well as the options for displaying the crosshair and current refresh rate. There's also an ultra-low latency mode, which seems to be active even when the option is grayed out in case you're using variable refresh rate, and which lowers the input lag to pretty good 11.5 milliseconds. As for the variable refresh rate, its supported range is between 50 and 240 Hz, and beside the VESA standard or AMD FreeSync, XB253Q GX is officially G-Sync compatible. This monitor definitely belongs to the last gen of IPS gaming models, so beside the 240 Hz refresh rate, it also boasts a response time of only 0.5 milliseconds. Such a low response time is somewhat achievable, but only with the use of VRB option, which activates the backlight strobing. This option has few levels, with normal setting offering an almost perfect response and slightly darker image compared to VRB off, while extreme setting gets even darker with negligible response time improvements but noticeable overshoot or inverse ghosting. VRB option is also not available at the maximum refresh rate, but only at 120 Hz, plus it disables the use of variable refresh rate, so we doubt that many users will choose to use it, except in some specific cases. With VRB disabled and G-Sync active, response time is much higher, realistically about 2 to 3 milliseconds at maximum refresh rate, which is still pretty good, though not the best we've seen on the latest generation of IPS panels. Panel overdrive is also available in the menu, with off and normal settings being fairly similar, perhaps off even cleaner looking with similar response time, while the extreme option is really badly set and produces a lot of artifacts behind moving objects. Overdrive option is grayed out while using variable refresh rate, since in that case the monitor adjusts it on the fly depending on the current refresh rate, and does it well since we felt the experience in fast-paced esports games was very good. Another thing contributing to a good gaming experience, which is noticeable at first glance, is the contrast, which on this model was measured at 1325:1, which is great for an IPS panel. Black level was measured at fairly typical 0.3 nits, while the maximum brightness was just under 400 nits. Monitor also has an ACM mode for dynamic contrast control, which elevates the contrast to a bit over 4000:1, but with very slow transitions which make it not quite practically useful. In any case, a high native contrast combined with very good tone mapping makes the games look great, even ones that do not support HDR. The monitor itself supports HDR, although a basic HDR400 standard, so don't expect a true HDR experience, but more like a really good SDR display. True HDR models are coming later this year with mini LED backlights and not so many price tags, so as always you get what you pay for. However, I do believe that 400 nit models currently offer the best image quality to price ratio for PC gaming, so if you get one, you're not really missing out too much. A bright saturated image looks great in games, and that's exactly what Acer XB253Q GX delivers. The panel on this model displays 8 bits per color channel, but is able to cover about 76.1% of DCI-P free spectrum, according to our measurements, which is actually pretty good for a non-10-bit, non-FRC panel. Color accuracy wasn't exactly the goal, but rather the visually more impressive image, so the most accurate picture mode showed a delta deviation of decent 3.7. It's too bad that there's no sRGB mode on this monitor, with delta deviation below 3, since that would make this model a good choice for those who both like to game and do some graphics design or video editing, but as it is, the graphics mode seems like the best choice, offering maximum brightness and contrast, and practically the best display accuracy. We were pleasantly surprised by backlight uniformity and the fact that there's no backlight bleeding, though you still get the unavoidable IPS glow. Overall impression is that Acer XB253Q GX is a good gaming monitor, but is facing some really good competition in the $500 price range. It's got good image quality, optimal size for gaming, and a resolution which in today's GPU market may allow you to make the most out of high refresh rate and fast response time, even on a less powerful GPU. Acer XB253Q GX offers a nice feature set and performance, and is worth taking into consideration if you're looking for a new gaming monitor. That would be all for this review, but we invite you to share your thoughts about this monitor with us in the comment section below. We hope you enjoyed this video enough to give us a thumbs up, and maybe consider subscribing to our channel for more interesting tech videos. Keep watching Bench House, my name is Ivan, and I'll see you next time.